Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Zajic with the Zajic and Juliana Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway, and I'm here with the Eshoos, Lori and Dave. And basically, we're here today to kind of talk about your experience that you had with me in selling your mom's home that was in Streamwood, Illinois recently. So, I guess my first question for you both is before you both of you met me, tell me a little bit about your experience and how it was when you were trying to sell it on your own. How was that?
Well, our first opportunity was to talk about it at first, and we chose to, go to for sale by owner. Wanted to see, tap the market, see what was
Test the
going to
waters.
happen,
Okay. Okay.
and we did. And I went out, pictures, did all that good stuff that probably an agent would end up doing,
Okay.
and I went around and tried to find out what was going to be a good price, and I came up with a suggested price and put it out there, and lo and behold, about a week later, I got a call,
Okay.
and I thought, wow, that's pretty easy,
Yeah.
what's so hard, right?
Yeah.
And I went out there, and I met with a couple, and they wanted to meet at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, which was kind of difficult, but
Inconvenient.
I'm trying to sell a house, right?
Yeah.
So I took the time to be able to go over and do that, and I go over there, they look around, and got absolutely no feedback from them.
Mhm.
So it was kind of depressing and dejecting a little bit at that point. And then we waited, and I never received another phone call from another person that was looking other than agents. I got hammered by all kinds of different agents,
Mhm.
and I just kept saying we weren't ready yet. We weren't ready yet. We're just waiting to see what would happen. So that's kind of what our experience with for sale by owner.
And then what happened next then actually? Because you're getting
Well,
hammered by agents, but then what
well, then I
happened?
got
Then we
hammered.
got
I
this
got
agent.
I got a phone call. Actually, I got an initial phone call from Paul, and Paul and I had an initial conversation about it. And I told him that there's one thing that if I don't want to sign a long-term contract, I don't want to be put into a contract that you sit there and you're just going to put it on the MLS. I go, I'll give you 30 days to sell this. And to my surprise, Paul went, that's great because that's exactly how I work. And I went, this is strange
Okay.
because
Okay.
most agents just take your listing and they put it on MLS and you don't hear anything from them. They don't do anything for you.
Mhm.
So this was a little different. And I said, Paul, I'm not quite ready yet. You'll have to give me a call back in about a month. And Paul did give me a call back in about a month. And then there was this long 1 hour phone conversation as I was leaving a client from Chicago and I was driving out here. And Paul and I had a nice conversation and finally set up a meeting for that Friday, up and coming Friday evening. And we met at my mom's house.
Absolutely.
So
What did when we before we met with each other? Obviously, I spoke with you first, Dave, and I didn't get to meet your wife until we actually met at your mom's. But what was it that really caused you to say yes? I'll meet with you, Paul. I mean, aside from the 30 days or less guaranteed sale, I mean, what caused you to really want to give me a chance?
His gregarious personality,
Okay.
because that's what he told me after
Okay.
talking to
there was
you.
something different about you. I think because of the fact that you wanted to work within my time frame, that made it a little bit more. This is not my first rodeo of
Mhm.
selling a home. We had a condo prior to this and we sold, and the approach was list it and then keep driving the price down until I sell it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Which I didn't think that was a good approach, and
Mhm.
you tended to take a little different approach and said, well, why would I drive the price down if we're setting the price correctly in the first place?
Yes.
So that intrigued me because there was something a little bit different that I had never heard before,
Okay.
and different strategies that you had brought to the table.
Okay. When we first met, i- and we met at your mom's home, and that's when I got to meet your wonderful wife as well. What were you thinking when we first sat down? Like what were you think you were got yourself into? Honestly, what was going through your head?
Personally, I had no patience for the whole thing.
Okay.
I'll be real honest. I wanted to sign whatever papers you were going to put in front of us, and be on our way. And you kind of changed my attitude. Because this was my mother-in-law's home, I wasn't vested, except for the fact that obviously we wanted the best price possible, because this was going to go toward keeping her in the assisted living that we put her in. And so I went in there with just, like I said, I was looking to sign papers, let's get this thing listed, and you really kind of changed my mind and my attitude.
Okay.
The different approach is what intrigued me the most. The strategy of being able to come to the table, you did your homework, you did your due diligence, and you came to me and you listed out, so here's what has sold around the region and this price range, and then this price range, and then this price range, and here's a higher end house. And then the conversation alluded to, well, where we should price ours. What do you think you want to sell it for? And I said, well, I want to sell it for X. And you said, well, I'd like to sell it for a little bit lower than that. And so I listened, and you said, but here's the reason why. I believe we can create a opportunity for people to have a bidding war, and to be able to possibly be higher than what you're even asking for. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened.
And we listed the home at around 144,000, and we actually sold it for
156.
Wow. Okay.
So big difference between
that was
the two.
huge.
So the bidding process that went there for bringing people in really paid off. It wasn't about whether we were going to make minimum of the 144.9 or whatever we were listing it for, but it was for what really intrigued me was the end game. That really got people involved, and we put a time frame to it. There was the first 7 to 10 days is when a rush of individuals came out. They looked at it, realtors came out, and bids just started to come. And then we communicated, we talked on the phone, and we set a drop dead date. I think it was a Saturday night after you were going to do an open house, if I recall correctly.
Correct.
And then the following Monday or Tuesday, you called me and said, look, I got 5 bids. I got 5 bids.
That was the highest and best situation, and multiple offers that were coming through within that first 10 days. That was awesome to see that happen, the way that we planned it and the way that we executed it.
Absolutely.
What did you appreciate the most about working with me through this whole selling of your mom's home?
Your communication, you're constantly keeping us abreast as to what was happening, and even with our busy schedule going to and from Tennessee, that you still made a point of calling us and letting us know about the showings. And so,
being a business owner, you can never communicate too much with your clients, and that was the part that impressed me the most. I would end up getting texts from you, or I would get emails from you. Whatever it was, I was always informed of every process along the way. Even when we did sell the house, it got to the point of you were in communication with the other realtor, you were in communication with my attorney. You took over all the things off of my plate that I didn't have to do, and that's what impressed me the most.
Awesome. And my last question for you today is, what would you say is the bottom line reason someone would want to use a realtor? I mean, what is the real benefit of using a professional realtor who really gets out there and stands behind his or her word?
Over the years, I've known quite a few different realtors. The difference here is the education process that you go through and the process that you use to bring the information to the table. Your strategy has never been brought to me in the past by any realtor at all.
no.
Okay.
It's always been the strategy that I mentioned, where you turn around and you come up with a price and lower and lower and lower until somebody decides to
Sit
buy
on the
it.
MLS, keep lowering and
Correct.
lowering it, and that's
just
what
let
happens.
it sit there. And that that drives frustration from our side.
Mm-hmm.
The important part here, in my eyes, is that you came with a different strategy, a different plan, and you executed it specifically to the way that you said you were going to, from start all the way to closing. You were even in Florida on your vacation, communicating with me about how the closing has gone. Is everything the way you wanted? Are you happy with the end of the game? And I couldn't ask for a better outcome.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you to you both. It was really my pleasure to be able to serve you in getting your mom's home sold so she can get down to Tennessee. And now it's on to the next chapter. And thank you so much again. I look forward to working with you in the future as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.